There are animals that travel thousands of kilometers every year, but for some, the real challenge is not the distance they cover, but the countless dangers they have to overcome in order to survive. In the first part of our video, we saw some of the most amazing migrations in the world, but there are still many incredible stories that we have yet to discover. In part 2, we will learn about other unbelievable journeys of migration that help balance our planet. So before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Noel Polo TV and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any more of our amazing stories. Let's get started. Chapter 4. Migratory Behavior. Animals display different types of behavior to make their migration easier. This includes traveling in a more efficient way, the ability to reach the right destination, and successful reproduction. These are the most important goals of their migration, such as finding food or reproducing. For birds, especially those that travel very long distances, conserving energy is the most important goal. They use many strategies to make their flight more efficient. One of the most well-known is the V formation, or flying in a V shape, which is used by geese, pelicans, swans, and many other types of birds. Except for the bird in front, which is periodically replaced so it doesn't get tired, each bird behind benefits from the upward airflow created by the bird in front of it. In 2021, scientists attached heart rate monitors to a group of pelicans. They proved that the heart rate of pelicans flying in a V formation can be up to 10 beats lower than pelicans flying alone. They also noticed that they flap their wings less often and glide through the air more frequently. When these benefits are combined, it is estimated that they save up to 14% of their energy just by flying as a group. There are other birds that choose the right time to fly in order to be more efficient. Some fly during the day to take advantage of thermal currents or the upward flow of warm air, and to have more opportunities to find food. Meanwhile, others, especially songbirds, fly at night to take advantage of the cooler and calmer air while also avoiding predators that are active during the day. Giant cuttlefish. Traveling as a group has many benefits, and there are some animals that only do this during migration season. One of the most remarkable migrations in Australia is the annual gathering of giant cuttlefish, which usually live solitary lives. This species can be found along the entire southern coast of Australia, but the most famous gathering takes place in Whyalla. Here, tens of thousands of giant cuttlefish travel from the deeper parts of Spencer Gulf to the shallow, rocky areas of False Bay. This happens between May and August when they lay eggs and reproduce. This makes it one of the most amazing natural events in the oceans of Australia. The giant cuttlefish are also called the chameleons of the sea because of their amazing ability to change color. They use this ability not only to hide from predators, but also as part of their courtship and reproduction. Even more impressive, the smaller and less dominant male cuttlefish have the ability to use a different strategy, pretending to be female cuttlefish by changing their color and appearance. While the larger and more dominant males are busy competing with each other, the males pretending to be females secretly approach and mate with the real female cuttlefish. This clever strategy is not only found in giant cuttlefish. Similar behavior is found in various animals around the world, and the males that use this tactic are known as sneaker males. Bats. Perhaps the most important ability for a successful migration is proper navigation, or finding the right direction. And when it comes to this, few animals can compare to bats. In an experiment in Bulgaria, scientists tried to prove that the greater mouse-eared bat uses the Earth's magnetic field as a guide for travel, just like many types of birds do. But that's not all. Bats also use the setting sun to calibrate their internal compass before they start to travel. As part of the experiment, the bats were fitted with radio transmitters and placed 25 kilometers away from their roost. In just 2 hours, they quickly determined the right direction and successfully returned to their home. After this, the researchers used a device called a Helmholtz coil, which creates a controlled magnetic field. They used it to rotate the magnetic field experienced by half of the bats by 90 degrees. Before they were released, the two groups of bats first watched the sunset. When they were released, the bats whose magnetic field was not altered were able to find their way back to their roost. Meanwhile, the bats affected by the altered magnetic field flew 90 degrees away from the correct direction, showing that they heavily rely on the Earth's magnetic field during their journey. After this, the scientists repeated the experiment, but this time they conducted it at night, after the sun had completely set. In the second part of the experiment, all the bats successfully returned to their roost. Because of this, the researchers concluded that the bat's magnetic compass is recalibrated or adjusted. It is recalibrated every sunset when they can clearly determine where the west is. In another experiment, the soprano pipistrelle bats were shown the reflection of the sunset in a mirror, which appeared as the opposite of the real scene. As a result, the direction of their flight changed by 180 degrees. This shows that for some types of bats, it is important for them to combine the position of the sun and the Earth's magnetic field to determine the correct direction for their migration. Chapter 5: When and Why. There are many reasons why animals migrate, but it's not just the reasons that are fascinating. Even the signals they use to know when it's time to travel are truly amazing. Common toad spring is approaching in the United Kingdom, and as the temperature gradually rises, common toads wake up from their long winter rest. Now, a female toad needs to travel from her home on land to the breeding pond or lake where she will reproduce. In many cases, that pond is also the very place where she was born. If she is lucky, or depending on your perspective, unlucky, she might encounter a male toad along the way. He will immediately cling to her back in a position called amplexus, which is how toads prepare for mating. Because the male is smaller, the female can carry him as they continue their journey to the lake. In a study conducted in 1998 that spanned 19 years, scientists discovered that although the date of the toad's arrival at the lake may vary, even if their arrival dates vary by almost 2 months, there are 2 important conditions that must be met before they begin to migrate. First, the average daytime temperature over the past 40 days must exceed 6 degrees Celsius. Second, there must also be at least 9 hours of daylight. This shows that the increase in temperature and the lengthening of daylight hours are the main signals that trigger common toads to begin their migration. Once breeding is finished and the eggs have hatched, the tadpoles gradually develop legs and lungs within 2 to 3 months. After this, they are also ready to begin their first migration. From the breeding pond, they move to land where they will spend the rest of their lives as terrestrial animals. Once their first journey is complete, it will take several more years before the young frogs fully become adults. And when they are ready to reproduce, they will return to the same lake where they were born, following in the footsteps of their mother and father. Although seasonal migration is the most well-known, there are also other types of migration, which happens more often and is less noticed. One of these is tidal migration, or migration that is based on the rising and falling of the seawater. When the water recedes, shorebirds like sanderling, plover, and dunlin gather in the intertidal zone, the area that is alternately covered and exposed by the sea. Here they search for small crustaceans and other invertebrates as food, but these animals also undertake their own migration. When it's high tide, they hide deep in their burrows to avoid predators. As the water recedes, they come up to the surface to look for food. At the same time, the shorebirds move back and forth horizontally from their resting places to feeding areas, following the movement of the water. For the small invertebrates, their movement causes them to be repeatedly exposed to the danger of being eaten by the birds. This shows that migration can have unexpected effects on an ecosystem. Although migration often brings a higher risk from predators, there are rare occasions when the opposite happens. While a group of roach, a type of freshwater fish, were happily eating insects on the water's surface, they were noticed by a group of skilled hunters. Cormorants are expert diving birds, and one of the largest predators of many types of freshwater fish. In a study published in 2013, Researchers in Scandinavia tracked the migration of 2,000 fish over 4 years. They attached an electronic transponder tag to each fish, and later searched for those tags in the roosting areas of the cormorants to determine which of the fish had become victims. The results showed that the fish migrating from the lake to the streams or to the sea. During winter, those fish had a lower chance of falling prey to cormorants compared to the fish that stayed in the lake. Scientists are still not sure if the fish are really migrating to avoid predators. However, this study provided strong evidence that migration can reduce the risk of predation, and it is one of the first researches to successfully measure the effect of migration as a strategy of these fish against predators. It is notable that avoiding predators is one of the main reasons behind the largest migration in the world. But this migration does not take place in the air nor on land. Instead, it happens daily in the oceans and other bodies of water, as trillions upon trillions of tiny organisms around the world simultaneously rise and fall to different depths of the water. This behavior is commonly seen in various types of zooplankton. At night, they rise near the surface of the water to look for food under cover of darkness. When morning comes, they descend to the deeper parts of the ocean to avoid predators that are better at hunting when it is bright. This remarkable behavior is called DL vertical migration, and it is considered the largest migration on the planet because of the enormous number of organisms involved in it every day. Chapter 6. Biological Implications. Just like the wide mouth of the whale shark, which is specially designed to filter food from the water, many animals have unique physical adaptations that help them during migration. There are also adaptations that serve as the reason why they need to migrate. The summer in Antarctica, which lasts from January to March, is one of the most important times for the emperor penguin. During these months, they feast on silverfish, krill, and squid to store enough energy before the very challenging breeding season arrives. As fall approaches in the latter part of March, they begin to move inland. This migration can reach up to 160 kilometers toward a place where the ice is stable and not easily broken. Although this journey is extremely difficult, this is small compared to the size of Antarctica, which spans approximately 5,500 kilometers at its widest point. When they reach their destination, courtship and pairing begin. If breeding is successful, the female emperor penguin lays an egg between late April and mid-May. She immediately passes the single egg to the male penguin. After this, the male takes care of the egg by placing it on top of his feet and covering it with a special fold of skin on his belly, which serves as a natural incubator to keep the egg warm in the extreme cold of winter. Meanwhile, after doing her part in reproduction, the female emperor penguin begins a new journey back to the sea to search for food again and regain her strength. Meanwhile, the male emperor penguins are left in the midst of the extreme cold of Antarctica. For more than 2 months, they do not eat and survive only on the fat they have stored in their bodies to withstand the freezing wind. They huddle together in a large group. They constantly change positions so that everyone has a chance to be in the center, while those on the edges temporarily face the freezing wind. By mid-July, after more than 2 months of incubation, the egg finally hatches. By that time, the female penguins have usually returned from the ocean. When the pair successfully reunites, a remarkable achievement in the vast expanse of ice, the male passes the chick to the female. After this, the tired and hungry male penguin then travels to the sea so he can finally eat again. From September to November, the pair takes turns going to the ocean to hunt for food. Every time they return, they regurgitate food to feed their growing chick. When the chick reaches 5 months old, it is big enough to survive on its own. After it replaces its soft feathers with waterproof ones, it is ready to embark on its first journey to the ocean and start its own life. Because of these unique adaptations, the emperor penguin is able to survive in one of the coldest places on Earth and accomplish one of the most remarkable migrations of any animal. For sea turtles, behavior is not the only thing that affects migration. There are also biological factors that determine where they should travel. Every year, sea turtles travel from their feeding grounds to beaches in different parts of the world to lay eggs and reproduce. Some leatherback turtles make some of the longest migrations of any reptile, traveling from their breeding grounds in Indonesia. They cross almost the entire Pacific Ocean to reach their feeding grounds on the west coast of the United States. Meanwhile, other species like the hawksbill turtle undertake shorter migrations. However, there is an important biological characteristic that they both share, unlike most animals, whose sex is determined at the moment of fertilization. The sex of many reptiles, including sea turtles, is determined after the egg has been fertilized. This process is called temperature-dependent sex determination. In sea turtles, the temperature of the sand where their eggs are buried determines how many male or female hatchlings will emerge. In general, cooler sand produces more male sea turtles, while warmer sand results in more female sea turtles. When the temperature is in the middle, both male and female hatchlings are produced. Because of this, it is very important for sea turtles to find suitable beaches with the right temperature for their eggs. Currently, scientists are studying how climate change and the ongoing warming of the planet will affect this system, and how it might change the places that sea turtles choose to lay their eggs in the future. In one of our previous videos, we discussed the multi-generational migration of the monarch butterfly from Mexico to the northern parts of the United States and Canada. This is one of the most famous insect migrations in the world. But according to new studies, there is another butterfly that may be undertaking an even more remarkable journey. The relative of the monarchs in Africa and Eurasia, the painted lady butterfly. In 2009, scientists used radar at the end of summer to confirm that these butterflies were indeed leaving the United Kingdom. In previous years, it was difficult to prove this because they fly at very high altitudes, where they take advantage of strong winds to make their journey easier. From 2017 to 2020, researchers studied their wintering sites in sub-Saharan Africa to measure the true extent of their migration. They discovered that the tropical forests of Central Africa serve as the southernmost boundary of their journey. Meanwhile, this species has also been recorded as far as the Arctic Circle in the northern part of Norway. This means that the multi-generational migration of the painted lady butterfly can reach approximately 14,500 kilometers, more than twice the length of the monarch butterfly's migration. If you want to learn more about the fascinating migration of the monarch butterfly, as well as how body size affects the abilities of different animals in the animal kingdom, you can watch our other video about that topic. And that concludes the second part of our discussion about the most amazing animal migrations in the world. From tiny butterflies and dragonflies to whales, penguins, and other amazing creatures, nature shows us that migration is not just a simple journey. It is an adventure for survival, reproduction, and the continuation of their species. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Noel Polo TV. Also, hit the notification bell so you won't miss our other videos about nature, history, science, and other amazing things to learn. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, this is Noel Polo TV, reminding you to keep exploring and learning.